Thomas charging through the midfield. Thomas, it's up for grabs now. Thomas, right at the end.
So, welcome. This is the It's Up for Grabs Now Arsenal podcast. I'm Alan Davis, and with me I've got Ian Stone. Good evening, Ian.
Hello, Al.
And Tayo's here again.
Evening, Alan.
It's much the same lineup, very much similar lineup to last week.
The same, I think.
Why change? Why change a winning team?
Disappointingly, sitting in the same chairs and everything.
Superstition.
Same drinks, as it turns out.
Now, a couple of things have come up before we start this week's show about last week's show. I've had a correction. From a fan.
Yes.
Last week I mentioned that Alan Hutton, the balding ex-Rangers player, who is the mainstay of Tottenham's superior bench.
Yeah.
Their massively strong bench.
A massively strong bench. Sorry to harp on about a game that was 2 weeks ago, but I'm still thinking about it. And I said we don't have balding ex-Rangers players playing for Arsenal.
But we did.
But we did have one.
We did have one.
He was?
I knew it was in the back of my mind. It was Gio Van Bronckhorst.
Yeah, he was. What's surprising about it, right? It's not the Van Bronckhorst play for Arsenal, but he is balding.
I can't imagine it. I can't think of him balding.
Definitely, no, his temple, definitely going back.
He's receding. He's receding
receding
quite badly.
Not as badly as Alan Hutton.
No one's receding as bad as Alan Hutton.
He has receded.
He's a better player. And Gio Van Bronckhorst is like one of the only rare players. He's one of the rare players who actually left Arsenal and done all right.
Yeah. He's now warming the bench for Barcelona instead of for Arsenal. Is he still at Barcelona?
He can't still be at Barcelona.
Is he? There's so many players there. There might be 70 players. We
said him. Barcelona's our left back graveyard, isn't it? They can have Salvinho as well.
He's at Man City now. Salvinho.
Yeah. Wasn't that passport problems though? He's obviously got it sorted now.
Man City's over 40s. He's playing for,
which will come to Man City. You've got a couple of those.
But anyway, Gio. Yeah. Sorry, Gio. Yeah, you're not forgotten. But we did forget you were balding. It's just that you were so swarthy and permatanned. It's not so easy to see. He didn't have the bright pink slap head of Hutton. When Hutton got up off that bench, that was a Swan Vesta going out for me. I thought that was a phosphorus pate.
Yeah.
What a moment.
It could have just ignited him.
So Gio was an ex-Ranger.
That came through to me on Twitter. I've been tweeted about that. We are on Twitter on the Up for Grabs Now podcast. Last week I was saying we are on Twitter as the Up for Grabs Now but we're not.
No.
We're actually, our Twitter feed is at Arsenal Podcast, which is it's really catchy, isn't it?
You'll get that. It must be planted in everybody's head now.
We might put something funkier in there, like yo at Arsenal Podcast.
Did you just say yo?
Yeah. I hardly ever say it, but when I do, I choose it. I choose the moment
the
carefully.
abuse you give me for how I talk, and then there you are coming out with yo like it was really natural.
I'm on Twitter at Arsenal Podcast. So apologies last week. You can subscribe on iTunes. Remember, if you subscribe on iTunes, you do have to hit the subscribe button twice.
At least.
Make sure you do that, and then you will get through to us. There's one other thing that came up from last week. Someone did tweet me and say, last year, after the, as Tayo called it last week, the unfortunate 4-4 at the Emirates between Arsenal and Tottenham, this season, they put that out on video. Spurs, they put a DVD out. That was their end of season video. This season, their end of season video is only 42 minutes long. It's the 42 minutes
when they were holding up to a 0-0 draw.
Holding Arsenal 0-0 at the Emirates before the first goal went in.
Glory.
In off Gomez's elbow. Gomez's elbows have got more assists than any other goalkeeper in the league.
But as you said last week, his elbows are actually his knees.
He's a very pointy guy, isn't he? Really, Gomez.
He is very pointy. I don't think he should have been done for that penalty at the weekend. Darren Bent dived over him.
Darren Bent went down before but even still, he did touch him, didn't he?
A la Wayne Rooney.
Yeah.
And people forget that.
Eduardo doesn't seem to have been forgiven. He doesn't get penalties for anything anymore.
He doesn't get booed as much now, though, does he?
No, people have forgotten to boo him.
Yeah.
That's
the start.
I don't think they were really sincere about booing him in the first place.
He's been on the bench, so they forgot to boo him. So, meanwhile, David Ngog, is that how you say it? Or was it Ngog?
Ngog? I don't know. There might be a Dutch thing.
I like that key. I like that Sony.
Van Hoff.
He can take off from the 18-yard line. He can take off. He can take off from the edge of the box, and he gets nothing.
It reminds me of Eggnog Quinn, who was in the X Factor last year.
he can take off from the 18-yard line.
I haven't seen it.
Have you not seen it?
Shocking dive.
It's shocking.
Well, only from one side.
Eduardo bought it, right?
Only from
but
one
this,
side.
Well, he did dive, but
It's not bad from the other
I can
side.
see that the referee would have given it from where he was standing.
I have to say, was it not against Lee Carsley?
It was. Who did dive in.
Now, Lee Carsley,
he's
if
got
Lee
previous.
Carsley's gone in for someone and missed him, he'll be disappointed with himself.
That's why he was so upset.
More
It
than
wasn't about the
anything.
penalty.
He's going on about he dived. What he's saying is, if he hadn't dived, I'd have snapped his leg as I intended to.
I mentioned it last week. Have we had a penalty since
We're not
Eduardo?
going to get a penalty
one
ever
this season?
again.
No.
No,
That's it.
we're never going to get a penalty again. Eduardo got fouled the other day. And he looked at the ref and the ref went, I can't give that.
I'll give it.
I'll be up before the beak.
Still, we do seem to be scoring a few goals anyway, don't we?
Only 8 this week, and I
It's
think
gone
that's a
down.
bit of a
It's a
slip.
disgrace.
They've gone off the
disgrace.
boil, haven't they?
They've gone right off the boil. Only 8 goals. By the way, last week we were saying that we didn't want to go and see AZ Alkmaar and it was really boring, and it turned out to be a superb performance.
Cracker.
Yeah, apparently so. I watched it later on.
Were
Fantastic.
you not there?
No, I wasn't
I
there.
never remember whether you were there or not, even though you sit next to me.
Thanks.
Stanley, you were missed. No, you were missed. It was a great.
I'm glad I make such an impression.
You've been sitting next to me for 20 years, and I've just realised I don't even notice you.
Were you there? Who are you again?
Oh, I don't know what to say. So
It's all right.
that's terrible. Arshavin, it was all about Arshavin.
Yeah.
And he still looked knackered.
He just looks tired.
All the time.
He looks like he wants to just go down on one knee and have a little rest.
But he was brilliant.
Is
He
that
was
very
brilliant.
restful on one?
You know,
knee?
I'm a big fan. I was a big fan of Kleb, who's another one whose
Yeah.
name is a mess. It's got two
There's no need for an H and
constants
an
in
L.
the
And it's
beginning.
under Kleb.
You've got to get a vowel in second. All the best players have a vowel in second. Fabregas, for example.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, you know, those sort of names. Kleb, right? I liked Kleb a lot, right?
Great
but,
player.
you know, he's a wonderful player, brilliant technician. I thought he was the most gifted player in the league. I thought he's the best dribbler, he's incredible,
Wouldn't shoot, though,
skillful
would he?
player. But he'd get about 3 assists and 4 goals a season, whereas Arshavin gets that in a week.
Yeah.
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 He
That's the
specialised. Kleb specialised in the pre-assist.
They'd specialise in the rejected assist. He would say there's an assist on there. No, I'm leaving that one.
I'm gonna
you
hold
know,
on to
like
it
the
a
one who
little
doesn't bank
Oh, yeah.
on the weakest
On the
link.
weakest link,
It
yeah,
just
right.
keeps going. No, another pass.
Not now, not
no,
now.
Another pass. And Wenger's going, bank, you idiot. And he's going, no.
Yeah.
I'm having another pass. I'm going to pass again. A little nutmeg. How about the feint and a feint? And he'd do that feint he did when he thought, I'm doing it now, listener. I'm actually doing
He's
it.
fainting.
He
as
looked
we
like
speak,
he would
yeah.
slip over, and then nothing would come. Arshavin is nothing but end product.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Wenger said he releases the ball at the fraction of a second. He says, what I like about Arshavin, he is efficient.
I love it.
But then, let's face
I love
it.
it when you do your Wenger voice as well.
So this is as close as I
Same
get
one.
to a voice that isn't
Transported.
my own.
Yeah.
Is that?
No, I mean, you know, we have had a lot of players who do that, though, haven't we? Just take a bit more time than they need to. Cup finals.
Not
I remember
anymore. We got
Henry
the right people
trying to
now.
beat players
Yeah,
5
but,
times before he put in the net.
we used to include Fabregas a bit in that because Fabregas, if you keep giving him the ball, he's always in space. He's always available.
Yeah.
He always reappears after 3 days when you think he's dead. He's always there.
Yes.
But and he will keep joining in and keeping the move going. But if you would rather, he will run 60 yards and play a one-touch ball into your path for you to finish. He's just as happy doing it that way.
Yeah.
Kleb is the one who would get that ball, have a think, go back, have a Lucasade, come back on again. Fabregas's goal the other day when he ran 60 yards, the one against Wolves, where Sanya, who seems to be able to run miles, chipped it into Van Persie. What a touch by
What a
Van
touch.
Persie
What a
with his
touch.
wrong foot.
I showed my son
his
that
chocolate
one.
leg.
I went, look at that. Look at
His
that.
chocolate foot.
leg.
Yeah.
His chocolate
He
foot.
left a chocolate imprint on the side of that ball.
Only a little one,
And
though,
it
because he hardly
spun.
touched it. It was beautiful.
And Fabregas said, I'll have a touch. Yeah, I'll have a touch. I'll have a touch.
Because I can.
Which corner? That corner. That's how it's going. That's the speed he operates.
But
at.
Fabregas
And that
was
was
pointing at Van Persie, wasn't he, going, you're the man.
Yeah.
And that was actually our first goal
you know.
against Wolves because they helped us out with the first 2. Though I want to
did
give the
score
second
the
one.
first 2.
I want to give the second one to Eduardo.
Eduardo.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
Even though it was going 2 yards
I
wide.
was glad that
be
went
like-
in
don't be like
because Ramsey and Eduardo were 2-on-1 against Jody Craddock and nearly messed it up.
Yeah, that was my feeling as well.
You could pick
Jody
almost
Craddock.
2 players out of anyone. You could have had Nazarian Rosicki or Theo and
From
Arshavin.
Marlon.
Or me or
Ireland.
you, to be honest.
And
We could have
Jody-
had a go.
Jody, and what was he? Was he chipping it back to Ramsey?
He was trying to chip it
And
across
Ramsey
and
got annoyed.
finished.
Ramsey got annoyed with him, didn't he? Like he threw his hands up, like you mug.
Ramsey
But then
gave
he
him a pony ball in the first place.
Yeah, it wasn't great. He could have taken it a bit further on.
But when he
Still
chipped it in, I got on my figure. Oh, Eduardo! Oh! My wife just didn't even look up
Oh, right.
from the Sunday papers.
Really? That wasn't
Was it a
enough?
Sunday or a Saturday? I don't remember. And anyway, it turned out to be a fluke. Yeah, skimmed it off his head.
Yeah.
I got a tweet from a Wolves fan who said that they were playing 12, and it's always the same with the big four. Any thoughts about that? Did you notice the referee being biased in our favour at any time?
Well, 2 own goals were not the referee, were they? And the third one, the referee didn't do a lot with that
and
one.
we look again at that first goal, and that's clearly the referee heading that in.
So only 8 goals in a week. What I want to know is who started. Like, we're trying to stay under the radar here, right? We're just trying to be good and get on with it because Cesc is keeping his feet on the ground in every interview, even though he levitates naturally. He's trying to keep his feet on the ground, and then
It's hard. Yeah,
Exactly.
What you're saying is trying to keep his feet on the water. We've just got to keep our feet
suddenly,
on the surface
then we
of
wake
the
up.
water.
We wake up this week. We wake up this week and they're going on about 100 goals. We haven't said that. And now what will happen? I know I get obsessed with the press, but then now what will happen is that when we're not
going to score till January. Is that what you think?
Well, no, I'm just saying that we haven't said that we're going to score 100 goals, and the press have made this
Well,
stupid
we've got
stat
55 already in all competitions.
Is that right? Is that what we got?
Calm down, people. I'm not having it.
We get
I'm
100
just trying
goals by Christmas, I
I'm
would
going to keep a lid on it, even if you lot aren't.
I'd just like to point out to the listeners at this point that I am wearing a T-shirt which opposes the drugs war in Brazil. Underneath all my other T-shirts.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah,
Is this an Eduardo?
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, he was
Eduardo.
showing it to the Wolves fans. Do they speak
The Wolves
Portuguese?
fans are very...
Just out of interest. You know, I was just wondering.
What does that say, Barry?
What does that say? Some
That
drugs
says
war in
peace
Brazil.
in Villa Kennedy, I think. Yes, that'll be a reference to the drugs war in Brazil. Apparently, Eduardo's village has suffered badly.
It's better than his French
6
accent,
fatalities in recent weeks. That's very unfortunate. It's a miracle he can concentrate. Let's not boo him if he dives.
Didn't need to against that.
But yeah, what I want to see is Ross Kemp turning up and doing an interview. So I am now sitting dangerously close to someone who comes from a drugs village in Brazil. I am in row 4 at the Emirates Stadium.
Behind the bench.
The man in question is warming up on the touchline.
Yeah, it was a nice touch, though. You know, I mean, we've had a few
touch.
T-shirts over the years, haven't
Good
we?
to learn something. Paz means peace in Portuguese. Peace in Portuguese. Whereas I thought it was a sweets dispenser. Pleased to learn that. Very pleased to learn. I watched the game, the Chelsea-Man United game. Not interested in that. Very boring. Obviously, it shouldn't have been a goal. Darren Fletcher fouled Ashley Cole, but he didn't. Ashley Cole dived, and then Darren Fletcher said,
Had a moan.
Didn't he?
it seems that Mr. Wenger's words are having some effect, or something like that. He thinks that Arsene Wenger's responsible for the fact that the rest of the league's noticed what a dirty bastard he is, and he can't stop kicking people. And Wenger didn't even mention him. This is how good Wenger is at the mind games. Talk about a smart bomb. He didn't even mention him by name, and refs are going, hang on a minute.
Some players, wasn't it? Some players just foul continuously.
He said one, but he did say one player. But then
one player.
But I mean, at Old Trafford in that game, he did.
He kept doing it. Little fouls. He never goes down though, so you can't book him. That's their basic thinking. So he just keeps clipping them, breaking up the attack.
we always get kicked up there. Phil Neville just.
That's the issue, though, isn't it? It's the little fouls, the cumulative fouls. Because the thing against us is stop us playing, stop the flow of the pass, and lots of restarts, throw-ins,
Wigan tried to do
free
it to us.
kicks.
Wigan
It's the
tried
Sam
to do it to
Allardyce
us.
manifesto, isn't it, for football? It's continual restarts.
100%.
If it's a 90-minute game, that means there's a potential for at least 90 restarts in a match.
Yeah, we're not going to get offline football. We're not going to get offline football, though.
So little tugs. I mean, do you remember when we played Chelsea in the League Cup final a couple of years ago? And as soon as they got their late goal, which proved to be the winner, then it was 6 minutes of fouls. And Colo, who was already 38,
And he lost it.
He's lost it. Poor old man.
It was a ridiculous fight, though, wasn't it? At the end, Colo and Adebayor
Adebayor got sent off as
and
well.
Who was there was a couple of the Chelsea players. Drogba was involved, wasn't he?
No, really?
Yeah. I know. Who'd have thought? Although he's a changed man apparently because his son told him, "Daddy, you can't behave like this."
He had his leg.
Yeah,
what was
when he
going on
when
with
he got
that?
kicked in the chest
He was
by
doing
Johnny Evans.
He was doing like a backwards caterpillar. It was amazing. Bit of
Johnny Evans
breakdancing.
did the full crouching tiger, hidden dragon. I mean, he got him on the way in and on the way out on the same route.
Yeah.
Gave Drogba the proper twitch.
And he got booked for it, and he deserved it.
They got Drogba. That's how he speaks.
So yeah, we don't really care about Man United Chelsea. We wanted a draw just because it keeps
But
them
Jamie
nearer to
Redknapp's
us.
tie knot on that was the size. I'm just keeping an eye on it this season.
Obsessed with Jamie
Redknapp's tie knot was the size of a currant.
Do you reckon his? I was going to say, do you reckon his tie knot? His tie knot works in like sort of inverse to the size of his testicles.
Yeah.
Like when he's on his thigh. So when he's got
testicles, I can tell exactly the proportions of his testicles
about
due to the spray-on strides that he's wearing.
I was thinking about that all last week.
Or as my wife calls them, Jamie's leggings. He wears the leggings that someone who lives just outside KFC and only goes in and out to eat wears. You know, like the fat man's leggings.
Yeah.
But why has he got a tie knot the size of a currant? And how do you get your tie that? I mean, I was at school and I remember my tie pulled by a bully and it went the size of a currant and it took me about 3 days to untie.
That's Richard Keys for you.
So annoying.
Do you think Keys did it just
Richard
before
Keys
they went
was
on
doing
air?
in the dressing room,
Have
yeah.
that, Redknapp. We going on air?
I'm here with Jamie Redknapp. Here he is.
Then he starts talking like
Yeah.
a load of pie and mash and waffle, and you can't really hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
I can't hear what he's saying because Kate is in my ear going, "Poor Louise, that poor girl."
What's wrong?
press-
Why that poor girl?
Because he talks such a load of nonsense and he never stops talking.
Well, the press have got to be kind to us at the moment because we're playing really well, and they can't.
They're waiting for the fall. They're waiting for the brittle moment when we come crashing down.
Well, it's a good story, isn't it? That's what they want. They
You
just
know,
want a
we got
story.
Sunderland coming up. And that could be a tricky one.
It would have been more tricky about a month ago, I think. I think now they're beatable. They played all right at Spurs, though, didn't they, Sunderland? They were a bit unlucky,
Yeah, whatever.
you know.
Last year we nearly lost up there. This is going to be probably my last away game before I have a kid. You know, this is going.
Yeah, I'll take up the mantle.
You're going to take the ticket.
Yeah, don't worry.
I thought you were going to say you were going to come up there with me then for a minute.
I'm up for
To
Sunderland
to the Stadium of Light.
Yes.
Guess what Newcastle fans call it?
Yeah.
No,
Do you think we're going to win up there? It all depends who comes back from this international. Let's talk about the internationals.
I'm nervous.
Let's talk about
I'd rather talk about the Champions
I'm
League.
just really nervous about if Cesc and Van
Where are we
Persie can
playing,
come back
Brazil?
in one piece.
We're playing Qatar in Qatar.
Doha.
Qatar.
Where is
We
that?
don't care about England matches because we haven't got any England players, so it's just like you got to worry about
It's
things
all
like Spain,
Tottenham.
Argentina.
We know loads of Tottenham players in the England team.
Tom Huddleston
Tom
has been brought in because they know he can do a cracking barbecue. And they know it's going to be sunny there all year
Beautiful,
round.
isn't it? It's beautiful.
And
It's
he's
perfect
gonna, you know
opportunity.
what? He's going to wear an apron over his bare chest. A little test from Fabio to see which one or two of those players may be leaning the other way. Because it's very important when you're in a hotel for 6 weeks.
So we got so the next Arsenal game is Sunderland. Then we got. Are you coming to? Are you going to come to?
Liège.
You're going to come to
Stand in
Liège?
I am going to come. To
I know how
Stand
much
in
you care
Liège.
about the Champions
I
League.
want to see 8-1.
Anything
Do you
else?
know?
is a
I think we
disgrace.
should just spank these teams. We're good enough, aren't we?
Then, if we beat Liège, right? Liège is coming up. Then we win the group, yeah?
Yeah.
So that means we can send any old sod out to Olympiacos for the last game.
The ladies.
You know what this means?
What's the-
The ladies, plus a couple of ringers by the name of Senderos and Silvestri.
Oh yes, of course. Off you go.
Perhaps they'll put wigs on. You know what they'd look like? They'd look like Alex Reed, the cage-fighting, cross-dressing boyfriend of the model Jordan.
Yes, the model.
Would
She's
you be
on-
worried if they played? Senderos and Silvestri? Because they did well in that.
In a
in the
dead
Liverpool
rubber?
in the
No.
in the Liverpool game?
in the
they did all
Liverpool
right.
game, they did well.
They're going to play a
You-
couple of games in the summer. They're going to play Man City away in the Carling Cup, and then they're going to play Olympiacos away in the Champions League.
They're not bad players. They're just not. You know, not Gallas and Vermaelen.
You say that, but Silvestri. I mean, you can't take him to your heart, can you?
Well, no, of course not.
You could if he was good.
Well, how brilliant would he have to
tried.
be, though? That's the point.
Gallas
He
was
played for
easy
Man U
to-
a lot.
No. It's a bit of a mystery to me, the experienced, balding, left-footed centre-half who can't run syndrome that Wenger has. Because Wenger did buy Pascal Seagan.
Yeah, what happened there? He bought Igor Stepanovs as well, didn't
Pascal Seagan,
Did
it seems to be
buy
made out of
Stepanovs.
wood and bricks and stone and bits of stuff from a building site.
And
But he
looked
did
a
also
lot like Lee
he did also
Hurst
buy
as
the
well.
horse, and the horse almost scored one of the greatest goals at Highbury. Do you remember when there's some bicycle kick which didn't go in? I realised he didn't go in.
The horse?
The horse.
Oleg
Oleg.
Luzhny.
Oleg. Come on.
Oleg Luzhny.
Oleg Luzhny,
And
who
the-
mysteriously would come back from games in the Ukraine full of beans, wearing a tiny round plaster on his arm.
He's got a lot of energy today, isn't he?
Wow, look
at
at
the
him
horse.
go.
And it
Galloping down the
He's,
touchline.
we played
deflate.
Dynamo Kiev at Wembley in 10 years ago, and he chased Mark Overmars all over Wembley like a horse, like Champion the Wonder Horse. And Overmars, lest we forget, was very, very quick.
Very quick.
And he kept him very quiet, so we bought
Absolutely.
him to take over, ostensibly, from Lee Dixon. Lee
Yeah.
Dixon played for another 3 years. Luzhny ended up standing in the cup final in 2003, didn't he?
Visibly
right.
deflating a few days after he'd got back from the Ukrainian
Yeah,
team.
he would be good. He was the one player who came back really refreshed after an international break. You're listening to the It's Up for Grabs Now. This is the Arsenal podcast. Now, you can email us at upforgrabs@playbackmedia.co.uk. Upforgrabs@playbackmedia.co.uk. It's all one word, Playback Media. That's all the information you're getting. Spell it yourself. And we have had an email, and it was a breakthrough moment. It's only the second show. We've had an email. Here's an email. It comes from Dan, and he said he thought the first podcast was great. He would be interested to hear your best and worst moments as Arsenal fan, or whatever. Then he says his best moment was beating Liverpool at Wembley in 1987 for the Littlewoods Cup. His worst moment was losing 2-0 at Old Trafford to lose our 49-game unbeaten run. Awful ref, and the biggest injustice since the Birmingham Six.
Political as well. And
we were robbed, weren't we? We were robbed and kicked.
At some time, I would like to talk about my
injustice since the Birmingham Six, though.
It's a big statement.
No one blew up a pub.
I'm glad he cares.
Yeah, but it was a 49-game
Three of them
unbeaten
should have been
run.
sent off, and Rio did bring down Freddie when he was clean through, and that was a red card. But no one blew up a pub.
Van Nistelrooy stamped on Ashley Cole.
Yeah, you're right. Let's get it in perspective. Van Nistelrooy did rake Ashley Cole.
And Rooney dived.
I would like to talk at some point in a future podcast about where best and worst Arsenal moments, because
it does. Say it now, if you like. What's your best?
My best?
Yeah. Too slow. Ian, what's your best?
Tottenham in the League Cup.
League Cup 1987.
Yeah.
Second leg or replay?
Oh yeah, well when we won 2-1.
They were both 2-1.
Yeah.
Back to you, so he can't decide either.
I can't decide. I think maybe what's coming on the top of my head is Juventus. No, I could do worse. I wanted to do worst. That's what comes easier. Worst was Chelsea 2004.
Oh no, I can do worse than that. Leeds away.
Oh my! I was trying not to.
We're all having a lovely time, and
Yeah.
you go and ruin it. Now, let's just talk about what a fun time we had at Kolo Touré's 40th last week. I can't remember any of it. It was a bit like The Hangover for me. Have you seen that film?
It's great.
Yeah, that guy is a retard, is what I kept saying to Adebayo all night. Now, compare and contrast Arsenal players. This is a feature I want to introduce for this week only. I want you to compare and contrast the two following attacking Arsenal midfielders, Emmanuel Eboué and Andre Arshavin. Now, I'll give you an example of how you can compare them. They have similar initials in that one is EE and the other is AA. Any other thoughts?
So compare and contrast.
Eboué is 37 years old. Arshavin is only 13.
Yeah.
When Eboué turned up and they said he's 21 and he had that big, thick, bristly moustache, were you a little bit suspicious?
How old was Colo when he was supposed to turn up?
Colo was supposed to be about 19 or something, but he wasn't. He was about 24.
He was charging about 25, 26.
The reason I thought of it was because there was a picture, there was a goal scored, I can't remember what game it was in, he scored 55 already this season, and Eboué and Arshavin, and Eboué has got Arshavin on his back.
Yes.
And he's carrying Arshavin around. And this is the photo that tells me that Arshavin can never go back to St. Petersburg.
Yes, that's what you're saying. That's right.
I can never go back to Zenit.
I went to St. Petersburg once, actually, and I was just it was for a gig, and I wanted to go for a walk around, and the promoter said, we'll send someone with you. I said, no, it's all right.
What did you say? Where's the Nigerian quarter?
What? I said to him, I'm just going to pop out for a second, and he was like,
where do the Africans live in this town?
We need to send someone with you. It really isn't safe for you right now. So, I don't know how Arshavin's getting on with his
race
relations.
Zenit notorious for not signing any black players, aren't they?
That's Everton. Oh, that's changed now, isn't it?
How annoyed are Everton at the moment? How annoying is it being an Everton
Their best player is Louis Saha.
Your best player is Louis Saha, apart from that.
Yeah.
And your second best player is injured, is Yakubu. No, it's just that Liverpool are so pony and trap, and still you can't get above them.
No.
And they had a good side last year. I can't understand how Moyes does it. He has a good year. He has a bad.
Well, their season started badly, didn't it? Let's face it. It hasn't really got going.
Remind me what happened on their first game.
Wasn't it a big result somewhere against someone?
Yeah,
another 4 goals, was it?
Oh no, it's more than that. 6-1. Yeah, and so I think that they haven't really recovered.
And after the game, I remember feeling a little bit disappointed we hadn't got more.
I was disappointed we let him one because you've
changed. I remember the good old days. The bad
What
old
is
days.
it with us and letting him win all the time? That's slightly disappointing. We have to stop doing that. But can we talk a little bit about Liverpool? I'd like to say, memories of this great club as they sink to the bottom of the ocean. Is there any chance of relegation? It could get very bad, though.
Could get very bad.
Europa League, definitely.
Because they have to weigh up. They have to weigh
to
up
aim for.
the difference between paying off Benitez 20 million quid or not qualifying for the Champions League, and that's 100 billion pounds a week or whatever they get for that. So,
Do you think they're not going to qualify?
I think it's going to be very tight.
Do you think we'll get Torres? Can you imagine how good we'd be even better with Torres? I know it's a pipe dream, but I had Torres in Championship Manager the other day.
Someone told me that Ferguson didn't go for Torres for Man United because he didn't think he was capable of getting... He's never scored 20 goals a season.
No, you can pick a player, Forlan.
He's doing well now, though, isn't he? Forlan.
Yeah,
doing all right.
when he left.
I know, that new front line they've got of Valencia, Owen and Obertan.
That's almost as strong as Tottenham's bench, isn't
I
it?
can't see how they could possibly lose 1-0 at Burnley with that lineup.
Without...
How did we lose to them in that game?
What, in the League Cup?
No, Old Trafford, we were 1-0 up.
Listen,
it's a good job you got over that.
Oh, yeah, you were at that game. I remember you were sitting next to me.
I was at that game. You wouldn't know about this. This is away games.
It was an away game.
And,
I heard of those.
And after that game, I had to go and do a gig. I had to do the Comedy Store to a load of Manx, and I wasn't really in the best mood to talk to them afterwards.
You should have taken Diaby on.
I would send him to sleep for 10 minutes.
Diaby played very, very well against Alkmaar, didn't you think?
Yeah, he played all right.
Against Alkmaar.
Lively against Alkmaar.
And then...
It was a nice
Isn't it a shame that we were good? He'd had a day to sleep it off.
Yeah.
Isn't it a shame then that we got better when he came off? I want him to do well. I really do.
Against Wolves, he was asleep again.
Yeah.
So is it a bit of Jimmy
That
White?
was an evening game.
Jimmy White couldn't play in the mornings. Do you remember? In the World Snooker, he'd be 8-0 down by lunch.
Yeah.
He'd go, I can't play in the mornings. He's massively hungover and he'd been up till 4.
Yeah.
And then, but in the evening session, you go, I like it in the evening. But you say, Jimmy, it's indoors at the Crucible. It's exactly the same, whether it's indoors, whether it's morning or evening. It makes no odds.
It's black out his windows. Maybe we need to black out Diaby's windows, make him think that
change his clocks, get him on a different time, make him think 3 o'clock is about 10 o'clock at night.
That will work.
Bring him on in the second half, at the very least.
We do that as
well.
I
would say. That would probably work.
He'd rule in Spain, because games in La Liga, sometimes they kick off 10 o'clock at night.
They eat at midnight, don't they? For some strange
He would be Footballer of the Year in Spain, Diaby.
Well, hang on a minute.
He should go to Spain. I really like him. I think he's the most gifted footballer. Not at the club.
Not at the club. No.
But I mean, really, of his size.
He's the biggest of his size out
in the league. He's a really tremendously gifted footballer. He seems to be the one who's getting a bit of stick at the moment.
You can't get the ball off him.
Well, we've got to give stick to someone, haven't we? Surely.
Alex Song came on, and how improved were we against Wolves when Diaby went on?
Did you ever think you'd say that sentence?
No, I never did.
Ago?
And I'm looking at it now, thinking people are saying to me now, "Can you win the league? Can you win the league? Can you win the league?" And I said, "Well, we need Chelsea to lose a few games, preferably 2 against us."
To us, yeah.
And
Alex Song.
And we need to keep 6 players fit. Who are my 6 players we have to keep fit? Come on.
Arshavin, Fabregas, Vermaelen, Gallas.
Yeah.
Clichy.
Can I do some?
Not Clichy?
No.
Go on, you do the other 2. I can't think of them.
Van Persie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've just forgotten which ones you've said now. Rosicki.
No, you've got 5 of them. There's one you ain't got.
Who are you saying?
Song.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The one we were just talking about.
We were just talking about. Yeah,
one song. We've only got one song. It's not as good as when we had that kid called One, and we were singing 1-1.
That was funny.
Remember him, the Brazilian boy?
Can I just say, especially because I prepared this all week, because we got our Christmas party against Hull on the 19th.
Yeah,
we have, and we're hoping that Phil Brown stays till then. So I'm really pleased to see that he's won a couple of games before then. But I've just, I know it's radio, right? But you can all do it yourself at home. But have you noticed the similarities between Phil Brown?
He's showing me a picture of Phil Brown on his internet, and he's now showing me a picture of a space hopper.
Right, orange and smiley.
He's got them on his laptop. There's a space hopper. He's scrolling back. He's scrolled back.
Phil Brown.
There's Phil Brown.
Yeah.
Right, just try it yourselves at home, and
Phil
you'll
Brown
know.
and a space hopper.
Phil Brown looks like a space hopper.
You need Phil Brown smiling because his teeth. Because what you're saying is his teeth are a little bit pronounced.
His teeth are pronounced, and he's orange.
And he's orange.
And he's got.
There's someone on his shoulders.
And he's got
slightly gelled black hair. Actually,
you see it.
Absolutely.
You see it.
Yeah.
You see it. Right, I just wanted to get that in, and then mention the fact. We'll put it on the Facebook group, and you can have a look for yourselves.
Vote.
Have we got a Facebook group?
We've got a Facebook group as well. We're everywhere.
We have got a Facebook group. We were also on Twitter at Arsenal Podcast, and you can email us up for grabs at playbackmedia.co.uk. Just before we go, I just wanted to say that, in the old days when Arsenal weren't very good, I used to like to combine players. I used to think if Charlie Nicholas combined with Perry Groves, he'd be bucktooth Essex bloke, would be really skillful. No, and I used to like this. This was something I used to think about when we were drawing 0-0 against, Bolton or something. And I've had a new one this week. Tony Adams and Theo Walcott was one of my favourites.
A really fast Tony Adams.
Yeah, really skillful and fast Tony Adams.
Yeah, who gets injured a bit too much.
And doesn't touch the booze from the age of 19.
Right, yeah.
But my favourite one this week was Andre Arshavin. And who do you think I'd like to combine him with?
Patrick Vieira.
Good choice, but no.
Just to make a normal high
Not in
person.
St. Petersburg. That's a bad choice.
It'd be mixed race.
Andre Arshavin and someone else.
Yeah, another.
Cesc.
Who?
No, they'd be a bit short, wouldn't they?
Nikolai Valuev.
Nikolai Valuev and Andre Arshavin.
Then we're talking some sort of superhuman, massive footballer.
Yes.
I would wax him, though.
Which one? Yeah, thought about this.
Sorry, that was out of the blue. You would what? You would wax him? Of course you would.
I wouldn't personally.
You'd have him waxed by someone.
Stuart Little and Nikolai Valuev blended together in some sort of a blending cell and then unleashed into the world.
Yeah.
With the twinkle toes of Arshavin and the stature of Valuev.
If you like Colo Torre and Ebuwe, then you'd have the sort of combined age of Bill Cosby.
Yeah, they'd be like Bill Cosby.
Yeah. Wouldn't Arshavin lose a bit of pace,
all
though,
the jokes.
being sort of
No, I'd
spliced?
keep the pace of Arshavin.
Keep the pace
This
of
is the
Arshavin.
thing, you lose nothing in the combination, you gain everything.
Right, so he's an enormous, very fast man whose chin is like a piece of rock.
Very
Brilliant.
tricky.
He'll do us.
No one's floored him in 52 fights.
He never goes down under a tackle, ever. I tell you what, it's a great
incredibly
idea.
dainty.
It's a great idea.
There's nothing wrong with this idea. There's
Hulk
no hole in
Hogan
this plan.
and
Can we
Emmanuel-
encourage our Facebook group and our
Yeah.
Arsenal podcast to send in their combinations of Arsenal players, please? 'Cause I
fabulous
think we'd like
idea.
that.
All right, then.
And we can have a look at those for
There's
next time.
absolutely no guarantee those will be read out. Jamie Redknapp's tie is the size of a currant. Let's see what size it is next week when we return for the It's Out for Grabs Now podcast. Thank you, Ian Stone and Tyre.
Thank you.
Thank you.